Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I don't know about this episode. I really don't know about this episode. I don't think it was a bad episode, but there was some things in this episode that I was just like, what? Like Nancy and Craig for a minute. Like Nancy came over to Craig's place, and Craig was like, "All right, well, let me have it." Everyone's missing it. They're telling me about Leo, and I made a big fool of myself, and you can sit there and say, "I told you so." And Nancy comes over there to sit there and say, "I'm sorry." And I'm like, I get the idea of being the bigger person, the better person, the person who's not going to be petty to relish in someone's suffering. I get that. But it's just like, where is this coming from? I mean, my whole thing is like, you can love somebody from a distance. You can sit there and forgive. Not so much them, not so much forgive them for them, but forgive them for yourself so this way you can move on. But this whole, all right, so let me get this straight. Um, he cheated on me with another man, or he cheated on me. I don't. Here's the thing: I don't really care if it's a man or a woman, but he cheated on me, and he invited me to his wedding, and now I'm gonna go over there and check on him to see how he's doing, and tell him that I'm sorry for everything that went down. What? I, like I said, I respect the not being petty because I don't feel like that would be me. I can respect the caring about somebody, but like I just was like, what? Now Leo, um, somehow got into Damaris' place. I think he said he lied to the butler that he was the French maid or some crap like that. So he gets in there, he starts getting all petty with Sonny because Sonny was talking to Chad, and Sonny was relishing and the downfall of Leo and his wedding and everything like that. And Leo comes in there, and Leo's all like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit there and get revenge," and I'm like, "Okay." So he gets into this little spatting match with Sonny, and he's all like, "Oh, when we were together, I faked everything and this, that, and the third." And I'm just like, "All right, so we're we're just gonna be petty today, okay? All right." Now, I say that, and as dismissive as I am about it, at least it's something that seems real. As opposed to Nancy coming over to me like, "Okay, I just want to sit there and say I'm sorry for how you're feeling." Leo's like, "Nah, we're gonna be petty today." So they go back and forth, and Leo's all like, "Oh, I know what this is. You can't get over me, this, that, and the third, and you want me back." And I'm just like, "What?" But then, he's like, "All right, I'm not done." Because with you, Chad, he's like, "I'm gonna get back at you, and this, that, and the third." So he leaves. They laugh about it for a little bit, and then I guess Chad put out an app that, I mean, he put out something on his phone that would alert him anytime his name comes up on social media or whatever. His phone alerted, and Sonny took a look at the internet and saw that I'm assuming Leo, yeah. So Leo, I guess, must have posted something about Chad's quote unquote secret life. Now, I'm guessing this had something to do with Beyond Salem because I didn't remember watching the last, I think, 2 or 3 episodes. And I know there was some sort of drag show. I'm assuming that Chad was, dressed up as drag. So when it said, Secret Life of Chad or whatever, it was just like, and then they put on their comedic music, that music where it's like they make a joke or they have some sort of scene that's supposed to be funny, so they put on that music, and it was just like, I don't even know I don't even know what to say about that. So I was like, I'm just gonna move on. So Jack comes to see Gwen, and he just has this look where he's like, I know that I said I want to kind of quit you, but you're still my daughter. Like, DNA, like it's just I as mad as he is at her, he is hella mad for Abby, for Sarah, all that. At Jack's core, once he became a father, it's like it's just something that's just installed in him. It's not something that he can sit there and just turn off. Even knowing that he probably wants to. He's hella pissed off at her. But it's just not who he is, his DNA. So he's sitting there talking to Gwen, and Gwen is like, oh, well, let me give my explanation of the reason why I did what I did. And I'm like, and she even says, well, it's not like I know it's going to sound like I'm making excuses, but this is exactly what it is. So all she does is for 2 or 3 minutes is just make excuses for why she did what she did. And she does sit there, well, not excuses, but justifications. And she does sit there and say that at the end of the day, she did it because she wanted to. This is what she wanted. She wanted Xander. She wanted to have her perfect life, and the hell with everyone else. And that's just, I have to sit there and get some cat food. If I said this in my GH review yesterday. Yesterday, there's the neighbor's cat that, for some odd reason, is always meowing at my window. So yesterday, because I didn't really have any like cat food or anything like that, I had like some bologna and stuff like that. So I went outside and I gave it to the cat. I don't even know if the cat even actually ate it or not, but like, thing is, I feel like once I start giving this cat food, this is pretty much just going to be my thing moving forward. But unfortunately, because I am an animal person, I feel like if I just do nothing and the cat is just out there meowing and crying or whatever it does, I'm gonna feel like an asshole. I don't want to feel like an asshole. Um, 'Cause when it comes to animals, I don't feel like an asshole. So it's like, well, it's gonna be probably going to the pet store. The hell was I actually? Oh yeah, so Gwen at the end of it, she was like, I did it because I wanted to. And then she did this whole thing, this metaphor with like her and her mother, as far as like, Kristen, at one point, Kristen was meant to blackmail me, but at the end of the day, it was sort of like a hit, kind of like what my mother did. And I was like, I can usually follow these analogies, and it's not even so much I just had a long day. I feel like you are just trying to be like, oh, well, my mother did this and this, that, and the third. I was like, when you just made bad choices and you kept making bad choices and all this metaphors and, justifications, at the end of the day, you screwed up. You screwed up. Now, I think I guess my question is this the end of Gwen? Because these are serious charges. Jack was like, yo, listen, you literally broke somebody out of jail. Like, you drugged someone. It could have killed Sarah. Now, at one point, it almost seemed like Gwen was going to sit there and confess to the whole, you know, her killing Laura. Which, to be honest, I still feel like she did this out of anger. Like when Abby was not there talking to Jennifer, um, Abby was like, "Oh yeah, Gwen said that, she killed Grandma, and stuff like that." But you know, Abby also was like, "I don't know if she said that because she was just didn't care, or she said that out of spite." And I feel like she said that out of spite because even Jennifer was like, when she told me that she didn't kill her, she was adamant about it. She was adamant about it since day one. So what changed? What changed now? And then towards the end of the episode, they do get down there and they confront Gwen. When Jack is like, because there's some moments where, Jack is like, you, no, Gwen was like, oh, you can't even stand to look at me, and Jack was like, no, you're the one that's not looking at me. And you can clearly see that Gwen can't even sit there and look her father in the eyes because it's just how much she messed up. Um, and then yeah, they burst in there, and I think Jennifer Abbey was like, "Oh yeah, you killed Laura," and Jack just turned around. Jack turned around like the typical parent that is disappointed in you. Okay, not mad at you, disappointed. And if you ever had a parent that was disappointed in you, it hurts so much more than if they're angry at you. Because if they're angry at you, then you can be like, well, no, I'm not wrong. You're wrong. You're stupid. Whatever. But when they're disappointed at you, it's like it hits it goes through your chest. It's like a needle that just went right through your chest. Which I know sounds like a painful analogy, but it's just so much more hurtful. And when he turned around, you just sort of look at disappointment. Now, granted, I am kind of telling this a little out of order. Um, Xander went to Maggie, told him about the non-wedding, about Gwen and everything that she did. Now, there was one point where Maggie did piss me off, and she did apologize for that. But she was like, oh, the minute that you found that Sarah was not going to get any better, you moved on. And I'm like, sweetheart, I get that that's your daughter and everything, but, he is entitled to do whatever the hell he wants with his life. Your daughter doesn't own that. And I get that she wants to sit there and defend Sarah and ride for Sarah and everything like that, but it was like, it was one of those, how dare you? How dare you? And of course, she immediately regretted that, but I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have been a little more petty about that. Anyway, they talk about the fact that, he's so disappointed in Gwen, but he was like, you know what? Maybe that drug can actually work. And I'm like, oh, well, we can't sit there and really talk to Ruff because, he's been acting up in prison and, he's in confinement. He's like, you know what? Let's sit there and, that's when Xander's like, oh, you know what? Maybe we can sit there and try to get Gwen to somehow talk to Ralph. I'm assuming. Well, actually, no. I think what he actually was thinking was, does she still have the antidote? Or does she have more of that antidote? He does get down there. He does talk to her. He's like, yo, listen, I'm not there for the pleasantries. We're not doing memory lane. None of that. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. Like, I want that drug. And Gwen at some point is kind of hurt because she's like, "Oh, well, you think that I'm gonna ask you something in return? You think so low of me that I would sit there and do that or something like that." And I was like, "Yes, yes," because up until this point, you have been doing dirt like there was no tomorrow, and every time you did dirt, you didn't even really apologize. You just kept stacking on top of stacks, and you literally even said to Ava, "A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do." So at this point, um, yeah, you've been doing dirt since day one. So why would anyone sit there and believe you, let alone him, since you was going to marry this man on a false pre? On what planet you actually? Long story short, she does actually agree to. She's like, "Yo, listen, I got more of that antidote." Tells him what it is. I think Xander gets back to Maggie's like, "Yo, listen, I got this. I got the antidote. So let's see if it works." Now, there's one point where Maggie seems like she's happy, like, "Oh, there's a good chance that this antidote can work." But when she first heard the antidote, she was like, I don't know. I mean, there's side effects. There could be side effects. She was very hesitant to sit there and see to even try it on Sarah the first time. Okay, and then when the misfire happened, he thought the antidote didn't work and it made her worse or whatever. She regretted it. Hell, she wanted to sit there and try to suck the antidote out of her body because she was that nervous that it was going to do something. But now she's just like, oh, well, let's try it. And is it one of those things where Maggie's just like, well, I guess it can't get any worse than this? But I'm like, uh, it could definitely get worse than that. But, at this point, I think they done probably dragged out this whole Sarah going from Renee to Zara being a baby or 5 or 12 or whatever the hell she's supposed to be at. So I think maybe now it's time to, you know, kind of get it back on track. Get it back on track. Get it back to the Sarah that everyone known and loved. Um, I'm, Cause I gotta sit there and say this before I forget. There's a lot of comings and goings with this show so far. And granted, this isn't the first show where you just had actors and characters just leave. Um, I think about it over the past 2 years, and granted, it's in every show. But you have so far Theo left. You had Claire that left. Now I'm hearing, the actress that plays Sierra that's leaving, and that was her name. The actress that plays Abby is leaving. Like the poster that, well, the thumbnail that I put, as far as um, one second. As far as the actress that plays Sarah, I mean, no, as far as the actress that plays Abby is leaving, that she's supposed to be rumored to be killed off by, I'm assuming Christian because, or Evans, since, he's still on the loose or whatever. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I mean, I can see some people leaving GH because of the whole mandate thing, but, days have been more laxed about that. I mean, they got Steve, I always mess up his last name, Steve. The guy who played Jason, he's going to be on Beyond Salem season 2, or, Beyond Salem. So I'm just like, why are people just up and leaving? Like, what is going on with this show? Is there like drama behind the scenes that I don't know about? Is it a Ruby Rose situation? Like, what is going on? Now, at some point, Leo does come over to see Craig, and at first, here's another part that this conversation just perplexed the hell out of me. So at some point, Nancy's like, what you and Leo had, might have been real. Like, it might have been a con at first, but he seemed like he genuinely loved you. Like, he genuinely fell in love with you and take it from a person who did, get to know you, this, that, and the third. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me just get this straight. On top of the fact that you are coming over his place to apologize for how everything went down, despite the fact that he cheated on you, invited you to a wedding, and all this other stuff in between. Now you want to sit there and start practically what sticking up for Leo? Because that's what Craig said. Craig was like, "Well, are you sticking up for him?" And I don't know if that's what she was doing or she was just saying, "Hey, listen, he got you outside your comfort zone, and it was real." Like, wait, what? But then when Leo gets to the door, she's all like, "Oh, well, we're still having a private conversation." I'm like, "You're giving me a damn headache at this point." You're literally giving me a headache at this point. Um, but Craig is like, "Hey, listen, I got this. I got to do this alone." And he proceeds to sit there and talk to Leah, which would probably be either in the next episode or the episode after that. And it should be interesting. Here's the thing. I think at this point we all know that Craig is going to give Leo another chance. Because as mad as Craig is at Leo, he felt something for him. Those feelings don't just go away. You can be angry and hurt, but they're not just gonna just fade away. So I have a feeling that he's gonna give him another chance. I mean, at this point, since Paulina decided to give the guy who hurt her physically and emotionally another chance, then I'm pretty sure that Leo is going to get another chance. Hmm. I feel like that's about it. I really do. I feel like that's about it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.